Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the SD RX-Zeromaru from Gundam Build Divers. This right here is an SD take on the RX-Zero Unicorn Gundam with a bit of a ninja aesthetic. Not only that, at first glance it's an SD kit, but it does pack in a bit of a transformation to a fully proportioned, almost high-grade looking kit. This video right here was requested by Dismas over on the Mecha Gaikotsu Patreon. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, getting to see videos at least 12 hours earlier, as well as the opportunity to request specific videos, then the link to the Patreon is down in the description. So at first, jumping on into the unboxing, and many thanks to OnPost, the Irish postal service, for absolutely crushing this box into oblivion. Thank you so much, I love when that happens. Please keep it up, definitely. Thankfully on busting it open, none of the plastic has been rattled around too much and nothing is damaged. As for what is inside of the box, we got 3 bags of runners as well as the instructions. I'll throw up some of the blurbs off the instructions so you can read them at your own leisure right now. And it is without a single doubt that this is one unique kit. Now this is heavily based on the cross silhouette style SD kits. Now in case you don't know what that means, SD kits are small kits with big heads. Very simple, but the SD cross silhouette line did kind of bring them to the next level with a little bit of a full inner frame, which builds up just like this right here. You build up the red full inner frame like so, attach on the armor, which is incredibly simple, and one of the most shocking aspects about this kit, but well, isn't too unusual for an SD kit, is that massive sheet of stickers. This is so ridiculous, it's not even funny. Now I did review a different version of this kit before. That is the upgraded version, which is the green RX-Zeromaru. I did do the full review of that, but I did not use the stickers at all because they are so tedious. But because this right here was a requested video, I went and pretty much used every single one of them and used a little bit of panel lining. So in case you're wondering the difference between what this looks like straight out of box with nothing done and what this looks like with some stickers and panel lining, on the left, that's it just raw ass out of the box, and on the right, that is it with a little bit of extra work. Again, just the stickers and just some panel lining. Anyway, let's check it out. So anyway, jump right on into the aesthetics, and that right there is what the SD RX-Zeromaru looks like out of the box, snapped together with the stickers attached and some panel lining. Like we saw already, without the stickers attached, without some panel lining, it does look incredibly plain because the color separation is very limited. But when it does come to the overall silhouette, the overall look when you do have it complete with the stickers on, it doesn't look too bad. Personally, I do feel it kind of lacks some of the charm the mobile suit or character, it's hard to kind of say with an SD kit, but the mobile suit RX-Zeromaru has. I feel it's got a lot of dynamic nature and whatnot that is a little bit lost in this almost sterile looking SD kit. But at its core, this is SD through and through. Simple, cute, and very easy to put together. So when it does come to the aesthetics and the build on the Zeromaru right here, the biggest, craziest issue, of course, is the stickers, because we get a mighty amount. This is probably the biggest sheet of stickers I have ever seen, full stop ever. That's why I've never used it before, but because it was a request, I gave it a go. Now you might notice that there's a couple left over. Basically, a few things that didn't seem so important to me that are around on the back I did not use, but I did use the vast majority of them, including the vast majority of the red Psycho Frame ones. But I have to say, in the end, they don't necessarily look that bad, especially the red ones. The red ones, as you can see, for the most part are recessed into the armor, so they don't look too bad. The gold ones on here would probably be the worst because they are in raised sections and do require some fairly crazy bending around some corners. But on the whole, again, not awful. On the chest armor cockpit section right there, that gold is a sticker, probably would be better painted well. Most definitely would look a whole lot better painted. That goes for all the stickers, but again, I would say painting SD kits may be some of the most difficult painting ever due to the amount of masking you'd have to do. Anyway, zooming in for a closer look. Zooming on into the head first, and when it does come to SD kits, the heads have always been my favorite. They've just got so much character and so much detail. On here, it is definitely a little bit limited and not as nice, I would say, as some SD kits I would have seen in the past, mainly because of the, I guess, extra detail that does require the amount of stickers. But again, overall, not too bad. Moving down to the body then, and again, somewhat dominated by these stickers. Again, if you did paint it, it would look a whole lot nicer, but it would be a very difficult task. We're meant to have some of the same kind of black and gold armor on that little lower section right there with the circle on it, but I didn't kind of want to lose the detail, and the sticker was particularly bad to try and lay around such a large curved surface. Shoulders again, very, very fun, that kind of RX-Zero unicorn feel with a little bit of a ninja aesthetic. Underneath, of course, there isn't a whole lot of detail. That is par for the course for an SD kit. The arms in here are incredibly simple. It is just the SD cross silhouette frame for the most part, with a little bit of armor, and the hands are simple, especially when you flip around to the back. You can see they are hollow. Again, simple, basic, fun little kits, which definitely could do with a little bit of work. Moving down now to the waist and the legs, and the same sort of commentary right here. The stickers look nice recessed, not so nice when they're up on a raised surface. I will mention the gold in here is a simple injection gold that may not suit everybody, and it doesn't take detail too well. I did start pan lining that little segment right there, but it's such a kind of gelatinous, rounded finish that it's not really too keen on taking ink so well. Again, if you want the absolute best from your RX-Zeromaru, the option really is paint. That is the way to go. Paint the gold, get that nice metallic red in there too, so you don't actually lose the molded detail that is underneath the stickers, and this thing could look incredibly cute and incredibly fun. So jumping on into a size comparison, and there it is beside two standard size Gundams. That is a high grade RX-78-2 and a master grade RX-78-2. So as you can see, these are quite short in stature. Throwing a master grade SD into the mix, as you can see, that is a little bit taller due to the kind of elongated proportions that aren't truly SD. And a high grade kit that I threw an SD's head onto because I just kind of love SD heads on high grade bodies for some reason. It just looks great. But yeah, SD's pretty small. Inside of the box, this is what we get with the RX-Zeromaru when it does come to accessories. We've got a bunch of parts which are kind of the armor for the transformation into the fully proportioned mode, which also function as weapons to some degree. And speaking of weapons, we've got a rifle, a tiny little sword that is just all in one color, a giant shuriken, as well as a whole bunch of various little parts and attachable sections. We've got a pair of kunai, two alternate hands, as well as this fate place section for when it is transformed. So all through the review, I felt there was something a little bit off about this right here, and I could never quite put my finger on it, and that's this right here. I'd absolutely forgotten to pop its scarf on, which is meant to be here, and then around on this little peg, sticking out from the backpack right there. So there we go, that looks a little bit better. Alright, so taking a quick look through the weapons we have in here, first off is the sword, very simple. It just simply slides on into the hand like that, and this is what it looks like equipped. Again, you may want to hit the blade of that with some silver paint, because out of the box, a little plain. Next up then in here we've got the rifle. Again, this is just two simple pieces. There is no real color on it. Again, it just pops on into the hand and looks like that when complete. Again, it doesn't seem like it's meant to have any additional color. In the manual, this is how it looks. So simple and plain. Next up in here we've got the large shuriken. This is what it looks like out of box. We do have a little bit of a handle around back for it to be held onto. The blade sections on this are meant to be in white, so it is meant to be color separated to some degree. So again, it is in plain. It's made out of metallic injection red. As for attaching the big old shuriken into the hand, it's again the same as before. You just slide it on in simple as so. And I also decided to throw a shuriken in a kind of rear grip into the other arm as well, just so you can see what one of those looks like as well. And this right here is what we get when they are both attached. And I have to say, this is pretty dramatic and dynamic and cool looking for an SD kit. Just this right here, those sharp green eyes peeking through that beautiful glowing red. It just really does work out. Even though a lot of the aspects are simple, the color separation could be a little bit better. This right here just looks, well, pretty damn badass. So jumping on into the articulation right here with the Zeromaru, and I will mention that it is solid enough of a little kit. It's all plastic on plastic for the most part. Actually, I think it fully is. Anyway, as for what it can do, getting it on into the usual pose, well, as much as you can, isn't as limited as you would expect. Well, I suppose it depends on what you're expecting. When it comes to classic SD kits, they didn't really have much articulation at all. When the cross silhouette frame was added into them, it means you at least got a little bit of a bend in the elbows and the knees. Now, there is a larger cross silhouette frame that has more movement in it, but one does not come included with this kit, so that is the limit of the articulation right there. So yeah, as you can see, not really a whole lot. It's not the biggest poser around, but it's not a non-poser either. You'll get a couple of moves out of it. Next up in here we do have some alternate hands. The standard hands we've been seeing so far are some fists. Swap on the hands is super simple. It's just ball joints, pull off the one you don't want, attach on the one you do. That is what it looks like right there. So it is some ninja fingers. We do have some scoop parts in here. I guess these are to be viewed from behind like so. Other cool things you can do in here, we've got a sliding mask section to change it into the kakure form. The mask comes down like so. Basically, it's unicorn form. You close up the crest up top, and then you flip the ankle armor around. I guess it's to be like the Unicorn Gundam's transformation. I'm just going to do the one for the sake of brevity because I'm looking forward to getting this transformed into the fully proportioned mode. So next up is the transformation, the Nintodo, which basically transforms it from what we would have seen before, which is the SD version, to a fully proportioned, almost high-grade looking kid. Now this is really at the heart of what makes the Zeromaru so unique. Anyway, in order to do it, you grab the armed armor Hattori and actually split it up into all of its parts, all of these little pieces right here. Then you grab the Zeromaru himself and do the exact same thing. Pull him apart into all of its bits because we're going to combine them both. First off, you disassemble the head just like so because we've got an actual high-grade style head inside of it. You then attach on a waist section from underneath, V-fin up on the head, this mask onto the chest. You can also optionally put onto the face if you want to. Build the head back up, attaching these two segments, which now makes it a backpack, which attaches onto the back. Grabbing one of those little arms, you pull off this top part, add on a little bit of an extension, reattach on the shoulders, this time backwards, sliding the bit of armor up to the front. We've got a bit of bracer armor for the forearm, and that is what the arm looks like complete. Slapping them onto the torso, and it's coming together nicely. Next up down the legs, you grab the wings of the Hattori unit, flip in the feathers like so, grab the small little leg, pull it apart, attach some armor onto it, attach that then onto the part we just transformed, which is now the lower leg, and pop the foot back on. And there we go, a fully proportioned leg, attaches onto the waist unit, onto the Gundam itself, and there you go. There is the Zeromaru in its Nintodo mode. I keep trying not to say Nintendo mode, but from here on out, I'm not going to try anymore. I'm just going to call it Nintendo mode. Anyway, we've got to do the exact same thing with the weapons. Grab the weapons we would have seen before, and now we're going to make them a little bit bigger with some various effects. The sword attaches into the scarf, big sword. Kunai attaching to these red segments in the same sort of way, big kunai. Finally, then you grab the central aspect of the Hattori, slide it around a little bit, throw this bit underneath because I think it's meant to look like a beam magnum, but it fails at that spectacularly, definitely. Anyway, there we go. That is what the Zeromaru looks like in its Nintendo mode. And yeah, again, very high-grade proportion. The arms do look a little funny because of the big hands and they're not necessarily long enough. But overall, this does work out really well. It's just a lot of fun. The head hanging off the back is definitely unique. I'm guessing it's meant to look like it has come off and moved back. But if you actually do just kind of remove this as a backpack, you've got more of a standard sort of Gundam look and a standard backpack adapter. And speaking of which, it's always good fun trying out those adapters, so I'm gonna grab something that looks like it will suit. This is the backpack of the Mighty Strike Freedom that just pops off like so. The colors will definitely match because it is predominantly white with gold, and we do have a splash of red up top. This should just attach in the usual kind of way. Oh no, that's a bad move by Bandai right there. Yeah, oh, what a dumb move. By putting that large peg above the regular adapter, it means you can't actually attach anything on. It's just outright in the way. That is such wasted potential. But as for what we would have gotten, it would have looked a little something like that, and that would look badass right there. But yeah, sadly, cannot be used out of box. Maybe with a bit of snippy, could chop the thing off and use it. Anyway, super short mini review of the Nintendo mode. That right there is what it looks like out of box. Again, the stickers have been attached on because it's the exact same Zeromaru we would have seen before. Again, very, very nice, very, very cool. A second ago, I had left the scarf on by accident yet again, but that is what it's meant to look like right there. Again, besides the big, massive hands and kind of somewhat short forearms, this definitely does look like a high-grade kit. Now, it doesn't necessarily feel like one in hand because it is the cross silhouette frame going on inside of it, but overall, the idea is just so much fun. An SD that can transform into sort of HG. I would love to see that across the line. I'd love to see a master grade SD that could transform into a real grade, for example. Something like that would be a whole lot of fun, definitely. Anyway, looking pretty alright. The big head around on the back and the face on the chest, definitely odd design elements, but that's build divers through and through. When it comes to the articulation, it's kind of the same, but maybe a little bit different. Wow, that is the knee bend right there. Anyway, the ankle doesn't bend too much either. Let's try and see what we can get on the upper side here. There is no ab crunch past this brand new little section. So for the most part, the new additional aspects are just kind of for the look. But when it comes to the articulation, as you can see, you're not going to be getting too many poses, but this one. The accessories we have in here are pretty much the same as before. This has a transformable mechanism which changes the long-range weapon and allows it to combine with the sword into this larger kind of weapons section right here. Like a lot of kind of SD kits, it's a little bit of design gore, and it's referred to as the Beam Zanbato. So anyway, finally getting into a little bit of a pose for that final spin, I was attaching the big old weapon on the Beam Zanbato. I did notice that the red section close to the Gundam, this is meant to be in white when I was trying to orientate it using the image in the instructions. I did notice that. There is only one pose you can kind of pull off with this kit. The articulation isn't crazy, but once the weapon is in both hands, kind of locks it into a position. So that right there is pretty much it, and that, well, is it for the review. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I will mention, when it comes to SD kits, I do not rank these, give them any kind of score or a tier level, because I find they're just fun little kits. They're not really serious in any kind of way, and the whole point is just cute little kits that sit on your desk and look very, very fun. However, there is a lot of kind of negative aspects to the positivity of them. The main one, of course, is color accuracy. These are very simple in order to make them small, cheap, and easy to produce, which means the color accuracy out of box is very limited. You do need a lot of stickers like we saw in the review, and the funny thing is, these are the simplest kits to put together, but I do feel the most difficult kits when it does come to perfecting them. If you were to paint this entire kit, it would require tons and tons and tons of masking, especially on deep parts, like all of the red all over the body for this psycho frame that would be very difficult to mask. Overall, what we get in the end is a very cute and very fun little kit. Even just built out of box, it looks great. The SD version of Zeromaru looks really dynamic, and the actual fully proportioned version, the Nintendo mode, actually looks decent enough as well. The stickers aren't too bad, the gold can look a little bit funny, the recessed red works out quite well, and in the end, for an SD kit, this is one of the most unique and unusual kits around with its transformation from SD to HD. Again, a lot of fun, not necessarily all that serious. Is it a definite buy? That would be up to yourself. Do you want a fun little kit? Do you like Build Divers? Yes. Do you want serious kits that are awesome out of box? Then it would definitely be a bit of a no. Anyway, once again, this video was requested by Dismas over on the Mecha Gaikotsu Patreon, link down there in the description if you want to join, support the channel, and as always, I will see you next time. It's the end of the video, so that means it's time to thank all of those awesome people that support me on the channel memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Stephen Collier, Izzy's Jim, Christopher Hamzy, Dismas, Caleb Engelhardt, Joe, RG95061, Scotty Thomas, Van Fon, Stephen Collier again, and gunpla.deals.